Morning. Something a little bit different. You'll notice my miniature version of me isn't here with me on this one. And there's a reason for that. What we're building is part one of the Eddie Stobart Twiggy. We're not going to do this one. We bought it because it was the introductory one. We thought we'd give it a go, and as I've said before, we can always find a use for these things with other models that we build. But we thought we'd give it a go, have a look at it, give it a bit of a review. But the kid has no interest in this truck, so that's fine. If it's not featured in a film or as some sci-fi thing, he's not interested. I actually really like this. I think it's really nice, and I'll take you through the bits and pieces of it. It is something that is I'd say fairly iconic in Britain. It wasn't. I think it's only recently we sort of realised, Christ, you'll see Eddie Stobart trucks everywhere you go. And you do. They're everywhere. And this is a particularly nice one. The nostalgia's kind of there for this, but not really. I mean, this is a truck from the late 70s. It was second-hand when they bought it. And it was their first one they named after a woman. Which then was a very long-standing tradition amongst Eddie Stobart trucks to name them after women. So the first four they owned. The first one was Twiggy, named after the model from the 60s. But again, this was the late 70s. So you hear the names, you think maybe it's the 60s. It wasn't. This was the late 70s. So this one was called Twiggy. That's the one the model's based on. Then there was Dolly, named after Dolly Parton, obviously. And we'll come back to that one in a minute. Then there was Tammy, named after Tammy Wynette. And then there was Susie, named after Susie Quattro, which then pretty much shows you that it was the late 70s. And that started the tradition that Eddie Stobart had for a long time. Now I think you can just pay to name a truck after yourself or someone. They got 2,200 trucks, so good luck finding a unique name, because there's probably 50 Daves out there, I expect. But yeah, so we're going to go through it, and I'll show you what's available. And the reason why I'm not building it is because it's huge. It's absolutely huge. Once I sort of opened up and realised how big this thing was, I can't do it. I've got nowhere for this to go. This is a 3-year project. So if you're going to do this, this is going to take 3 years. So these are the things you need to know going in. If you want to build this truck, it is massive. I mean massive. This thing's about 3.5 foot long. It is going to weigh an absolute ton. It's huge. So you're going to need somewhere for it to go. You're going to need to devote 3 years to it, and it's going to cost just shy of £1,400 to complete. But as I've said before, that's spread over 3 years. Don't look at it as you don't got to write a check today for 1,400 quid and hand it over to somebody. You are just buying this in parts. You can buy this weekly from a newsagent if you've got one who will reserve it for you, and it'll work out about a tenner a week, which, let's face it, is what it's a Starbucks and a magazine. It's not, you know what I mean, it really isn't that much money, and it's a hobby. It's something that if you get into it, that is you'll enjoy it. They become like an obsession. But can't build this one, just can't do it. We don't have the space for it, and it's not, I don't have enough affection for it to want to do it. It is gorgeous, and I am planning on building something that is quintessentially British, but this ain't it. I'm planning on building the Routemaster, which is the double-decker bus from the 60s. Gorgeous thing. That I think is as British as you can get. I mean, next to a red phone box, fish and chips, the Queen, double-decker buses, come on. So that's what I'm going to do. That's going to be big. I can't do that and this, just can't do it. But what we'll do is I'll build the first one, take you through it, see what the build's like. It might be good, it might suck. And I'll show you what the different bits and pieces are and ways you can get your hands on this if you want to. So these are the parts you get with issue 1. You get the screwdriver, as is just standard with these things, and you get a nice piece of the bonnet, the hood if you're an American. You get it's all licensed. You get the DAF lettering to put on there, but that's what you get with part 1. This is £1.99. We picked this up in a supermarket. So these are out there in the world and really available. If you got W.H. Smith's would have this, or pretty much any supermarket, you'll be able to find this introductory one. getting the follow-on ones, that's going to be a little harder. But inside your magazine you will get a request card which you can hand into a newsagent and get them to hold it for you, and you know, you can get it every week. So it will be 2 weeks until part 2 comes out, but then after that it's weekly. So this is the magazine you will get each week. You will see the staples on this are weird. That's so you can put these into a binder, and we'll come to that in a bit. So it gives you everything you need. You get the kind of step-by-step instructions. If you've never built one of these before, they're not complicated. I mean, you might get some tricky parts, but you can do it. You get a little about the trucks and the family and the business. Here it goes into all about Twiggy, what it was named after her, and what the other trucks are called, and the DAF truck itself. This is what's coming in the second part. That's the offside cab door, and that's that. We're going to the specs of the model now. So here you can see die-cast parts. That part's important, die-cast parts, because the entire thing is not die-cast metal. If it was, you'd never lift the bloody thing. It's huge. So some of the parts on it will be plastic. It's not all metal, but the frame, the chassis, that will be metal. The engine will be metal, and there it is. It is a beaut. It's really nice, and you can see how it all works. So that you've got the tilting cabs. You can see the engine underneath. It will come with working headlights. You can see we have the opening doors. The cabin trailer doors can be opened. Bonnets lift off. There you go, you've got the movable seat armrest and trailer stand that can be cranked up and down, so you can remove the trailer from the truck. The wheels, everything will turn with the axles. The suspension will work, it will have working suspension. You will need it. If you don't, this thing will break. The curtain's really nice. I thought this was just going to be a plastic frame, but it's not. This appears to be an actual curtain, which I think is nice. Again, if you're into haulage, if you're into your trucks, if you're into, this is a dream. This would be, I couldn't recommend it enough. It's just not for me, but it's a lovely piece of kit, and I think it's probably going to be very popular at the moment. I think with the newfound respect the nation seems to be having for our haulage drivers, and the renewed interest in it, I can see this being popular. I can. It's a very nice build, and it's one of those things where I'm thinking 3 years from now when I see people finishing it, I'll be gutted I didn't pursue it. But that's what we got on this. Now you can see the kind of lengths on this thing, right? So it's 323 mil high, so it's over a foot in height, and then the length you can see right there, it's way over a meter. This thing is an absolute beast. If you could just build this part, I think maybe, but the trailer's huge. It's massive. So this thing it's an absolute beast. You're looking at over 3 foot on this. So yeah, I just have nowhere for it to go. So we just can't do it. It really is that simple. It says here die-cast metal, plastic for fine details, and steel screws. And that is the case. If you do subscribe, you will get some freebies. So you'll get a free issue. So I think you get issue 3 free if you subscribe. You get a binder for your issues. You get a little toolkit, which is quite nice. It looks like it's got a couple of screwdrivers, a microfiber cloth, and a craft knife. It's nice little thing. And with your 7th delivery, you will get a 76 scale dolly. So you'll get a little one that'll be a nice thing to have on a shelf to remind you of what it is you're actually building. So that's what that is. And then, yeah, that's where we are. So that's all the bits and pieces I can tell about that. You can subscribe to this from Hachette. I will give you the full details. There we go. Look, it says build.eddiestobart.com. Go there. You can subscribe to this if you want to. It is a 1/12 scale. Now, the other cars that we're building are 1/6 scale. But I mean, if this was in 1/8, if this was in 1/8, forget about it. The thing would be like 8 foot long. So, you know, be thankful it's 1/12. So with that being said, I'm going to crack this thing open, put it together, and we'll let you know the quality of the build and how it looks. Okay, so this is a closer look at everything. This is metal. This is plastic. All of the DAF lettering is plastic. These are all plastic. Yeah, it's all the detailing is plastic, but this is metal. I don't think there's a whole heap to do in this, so I'm just going to put it together to show you what it looks like at the end. And that is part 1 complete. It's nice. I mean, it's really nice. This paint job's lovely. It's everything went together fairly easily. I mean, there was no real complications. Put the reflectors in there, we've put the grill in, we've put the double daft signs on there. Show the back of this. You can kind of see where we screwed it all in there. The daft letters just pop in, which means they could just pop out. So it's entirely up to you if you want to secure those in place with just a tiny touch of glue. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, you're not playing with it, they're not going to pop out, but they might. If you're worried about it, drop glue, they'll be fine. But that's it. I will use the Coke can scale I always use, so you can get an idea of how big it is. So that gives you an idea of exactly how big part 1 is. So there you go. It's nice. I mean, there's not too much I can say about it. I won't be doing it, but I kind of regret that I won't be doing it. So that's it. That's part 1 done, complete. It's nice. It's really nice, and honestly, just because I'm not doing it doesn't mean you shouldn't. If you're into haulage, if you're into trucks, if you're into part works, if you're into modelling, if you're bored and want something to do, this is right up your alley. It's nice. There are other ones available. So if you're not aware of part works and you were looking for a hobby, just Google part works. There are so many, and it's a business that has boomed. So that's the other thing. If you are kind of worried that you're going to get 50 issues into this and the company's going to go bust, they're not. The company that makes this, the company Hachette, have been doing this for years. These models, they go the distance, and in the events, I think there was one that didn't, that I can remember. There was the James Bond Aston Martin. I think they got up to about issue 20, and there was, I believe there was a problem with licensing in this country. It wasn't lack of interest, and it certainly wasn't the company going bust. I believe it was an issue with licensing, so it couldn't be sold here. But they refunded everybody, so all 20, they got all their money back, and got to keep what they built. And then a lot of people then just started shipping these things in from America. But I've never known it. I've never known one not finish. And since lockdown, most of these companies used to have like 1, possibly 2 running a year, or running 3 or 4 at a time at any given time at the moment. And the community is boosted huge. And again, if you're looking to do this and you want support, there are Facebook groups dedicated to part works, but also dedicated to the specific build, which give you tips and tricks, because people are going to want to put their own number plates on there, and there are modders out there that will help you do that. And there's all kinds of things that you can do to modify this. So you could, in theory, make this truck and remove all the Eddie Stobart from it. If you don't want Eddie Stobart, you could make this truck look like whatever you want. Just kind of beauty modelling. It's your model, you can do what you want with it. But I can't recommend it enough. If you're into trucks, you're into haulage, and you have the space for a 3-foot model, go for it. These things are ridiculously detailed. They are museum quality models. I mean, everything, even I've seen pictures of the dashboard of this thing, and it looks stunning. I mean, shy of having a tiny Ginster's pasty, a pack of Golden Virginia, and a copy of Razzle on the dashboard, it's exactly like the dashboard of any Eddie Stobart truck. So, and I'm sure you could get someone to make you one of those if you wanted to. But that's it. It's good, it's nice, it's in shops now. So issue 1's going to be available in shops for 2 weeks. After that, issue 2 is going to be available, and then it will be weekly. So the introductory price is $1.99. For that, you get the parts you just see me build and the screwdriver. Part 2, I think, is at $4.99, and then it will be regularly $9.99 after that. So as I said, this model over its 3-year lifespan will cost £1,400, but it's £10 a week, and there's not many hobbies you can do for a £10 a week. This is fun, you will enjoy it, it is addictive, and I recommend it. So if this is for you, go for it. If you've got any questions or queries about it, drop it in the comments. I don't particularly need this, so if you want this, let me know, and we can work something out. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.